Everything in Linux is treated as file, and so that even directories in Linux can be treated as file. Permissions, basic permissions in Linux are three, that is read, write and execute. Whenever any file will be created, by default it is having read and write permission, but for making or for taking the execute permission, we are expected to run the command chmod space 777 file name with extension. With the help of this, txt file will be preserved with additional extension, that is execute extension, and one more file will get created named txte, which will have read, write and execute permission as well. The next thing in Linux are the basic commands, that is mkdir. Mkdir is the command which is used for making a directory, and this directory can have several files within it, but for navigation from root directory to the newly created directory, we are expected to perform the cd command, that is change directory, which helps user for navigation from root to the user created directory. ls is command used for listing a different number of files, and cp is a command used to copy one file into another file. The syntax of cp will be cp space file name space file1 space file2. File1 will be source file, file2 will be the destination file. Next is loops. Why loop? If we want to execute a task or certain task n number of times, then we prefer loops mostly. Whenever we know when to start and when to stop, mostly for loop will be used. Whenever we dynamically want to manage any kind of iteration, then for loop can be used. For and while loop differs syntactically as well. Now we will see types of file. There are three types of files: general, directory and device file. General file is mostly having image, video, program or simple text. Directory file, warehouse for other files. It can carry so many files within it. Device files, unlike in Windows, that is devices or the files can be, or the structure of storing files in Windows is F drive, G drive, H drive, like this. But unlike in Windows, Linux save or Linux used to store everything with the help of path given. Now this is the directory or the path structure with the help of which we are able to observe the working or the storage of the files and directories. Bin, bin is used for binary or executable program files, etc. That is etc for system configuration files. Home, it is default current directory. OPT, that is optional and third party software. TMP, temporary space typically cleared on reboot, with the help of which we are able to enhance the system speed. Why? Because garbage collected or garbage collection can be removed with the help of these kind of reboots. User related file with the help of USR, and log file with the help of var. File system in Linux are logical, physical and virtual. Logical file system, whenever user is expecting something, which is facilitation of opening, reading and closing, or user is expecting something and system is doing something for the user, for example creation of file, creation of directory, etc., can be considered within logical file system. Virtual file system enables us for multiple or multitasking. Multiple tasks can be performed with the help of one common portfolio, and so many users are able to access as well as modify with the help of these virtual file systems. Now, physical file system. The physical file system is the tangible management and storage of the physical memory and blocks. Now, example of this is low level details of storing, retrieving, interacting directory with hardware components. It means, for example, I am saving something on the desktop or any program is created on the desktop. I am taking the backup of the same with the help of pen drive, and for the accessing or for the retrieving of the backup taken. Once again, I'm using the physical media for same, and this is the physical file system in Linux. Now we will come for the desktop view and desktop application. Desktop view will be normally the things which we are able to see is termed as desktop view whenever we are opening or executing any operating system, then we are able to observe the screen, and that is called the desktop view. Application, whenever we are able to manage or access something, that is called desktop view. The best application of this is email, web browser, and chat. In Linux, commonly GNU is used, and which is used for mailing, that is Genome Gmail, with the help of which we are not able to just only view that mail, but on clicking to the particular GUI provided, we are able to access the mail as well, and that is the desktop environment. And now we will come for the backup. Why backup is needed? Whenever system lost something, then backup will run, and the backup is used to take with n number of ways. Among them, full backup, incremental, and differential are the famous things. Full backup, mostly irrespective of anything, full data will be loaded and backup will be taken. Incremental backup, fastest backup. Why it is fastest? Why? Because backup of all the files that have changed since last backup is occurred. Differential, but for having the differential we must have full backup, and then only we will be able to mark out the differences. These are the most important things in Linux which we are able to observe and remember. After that, Linux distributions. Ubuntu is the most famous Linux distribution. Why? Because of the strong GUI, that is graphical user interface. The launching year of Ubuntu is 2004, and well known and next to the Debian, and soon it will be able, or we will be able to execute the Ubuntu with the help of mobiles and tablets also. Next version of it is Linux Mint, but Linux Mint is actually it is advanced version as compared with Ubuntu, but it is less popular or less famous as compared with Ubuntu. Why? Because of the GUI provided by the Ubuntu. Strong graphical user interface is provided by Ubuntu instead of Linux Mint, or as compared with Linux Mint. Debian, the version of launching year is 1993, and it releases all the versions slowly. It is not as famous as Ubuntu and Linux Mint. After that, if else, for loop, while loop, and functions. If else are the decision making statements. When to use if else? Whenever we want to capture the output in the form of binary, that is 1 or 0, yes or no format, then decision making statements are used. For loop and while loop, whenever we want to perform anything n number of times, then loops can be used. And start and stop, whenever we know, then for loops can be used. And whenever we want to dynamically manage the start and stop, then while loop can be used. Functions are mostly used to organize and optimize the code. Whenever we are calling the particular function, then only it will get executed, and hence it saves a lot more memory of computer, and that's why functions are important. That's all about Linux.